Hello and welcome to Let's Talk. I'm your host, Brittany Freeman. Today I'm joined by Tracy Lurvy. She is our real estate expert and she's going to tell us what's going on with real estate here in Merrimack. How are you doing, Tracy?
Great, and you?
Not too bad, enjoying the change of season. Never know what's going on. Sometimes it's warm, sometimes it's hot. I think I started out in a tank top earlier today and then I ended up in a sweater. Just never quite know what to do with the wardrobe.
I know. I walked the dog this morning. It was 37, and then it was 62.
Oh my
by
gosh.
noon, so.
62, that's hot in Merrimack. You could almost be in a
that's pretty good for
swimsuit.
New Hampshire.
So in the morning you could be in a snowsuit, later you could be in a swimsuit, and then back in your parka later on. So
It could snow tomorrow.
and it could snow tomorrow. You never know. Remember Halloween, was it last year?
Yeah.
Yes. So anything's possible. And, maybe I should just be an Eskimo for Halloween and then we'll be all set. Now, I would like to dive right into our real estate. First of all, just give us a little overview of how the real estate has been here in Merrimack.
It's changed. It's changed for the good. The market's gone up. And just in the last couple months, the prices are going up a little bit. And the median price has gone up. I think last year it was, in little notes here, it was $219 for a residential home, and now the median price is $236.
Yep.
So it's gone up 7%. And the problem is there aren't any listings. So there's buyers now waiting, which is that's good for sellers because it's more of a stable market.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to a seller's market a little bit.
Now, I can speak from someone who's lived here, born and raised, came home from the hospital here in Merrimack. And why do you think it's so popular? Well, first of all, are most of the people that are looking from Merrimack or from other areas, would you say?
Well, there are a lot of people in this time frame. What's happening is they can upsize. So they can sell their home or their condo, or if they're renters, and they can buy a home. So a lot of them are in Merrimack or the area. And then people will come in from the outlet malls and Fidelity or Budweiser plant. So.
Oh no, those outlet malls, I'm there all the time. I think, we've talked about this before, that we have a little bit of that shopping addiction. So you think that the outlet malls are one of the factors that are bringing people into living in Merrimack? Now, you have to have a pretty big shopping addiction if you move to Merrimack just for the outlets.
Well, you would move to Merrimack to work at the outlets, or the managers work there. And then the new hotel that's opening up in the beginning of the month. And so they're trying to
Is it
get
the
more
Holiday Inn?
Holiday Inn Express.
And that's over next to Burger King, isn't it? Wow.
And then there's a yogurt place opening up at the outlet malls, and a Starbucks, and a bank.
Oh, Starbucks. Oh.
And then another Dunkin' Donuts on Continental.
Well, of course.
So that'll be 4 in Merrimack. So.
Oh my goodness. Now, aren't they supposed to be adding some restaurants too? I haven't heard about it.
They are, but they haven't released that
I
information.
think that
They've got it's a little Mexican restaurant, but I don't remember the name. That's with the yogurt shop, but it's more fast food still.
Okay, well, I love food, so anytime that there's food, I'm always on top of it, and I want to know what's going on. I want to let people know in Merrimack what's going on, because I know I'm pretty busy. People in general in Merrimack are really busy, and it's hard to Google and get all the research. So if they can just watch our show either on Merrimack TV or on YouTube and get the information through the show, I think that it would be a lot more helpful rather than having to go do the research. So we're going to do a little bit of the research for them.
Okay.
So just tell me a little bit about we're going to talk a little bit from a seller standpoint. So the average days that the homes are being listed that it takes to sell.
Well, this time last year it was 129 days. Now it's 58 days. So that's a huge difference. It still goes that your house has to be priced right. It has to be cleaned up, decluttered, good curb appeal, and they'll sell, within a week. Even less. Even multiple offers have come in on houses like that because there's buyers sitting there waiting. Because what's on the market now, because we don't have many new listings, are old foreclosures, old short sales, or houses that are overpriced and they become stale and they try to chase the market, and you just can't. And so those are still sitting there, but things that pop up are going instantly.
Oh my. Well, I was just watching the news, and I know that they were talking about Bank of America, because they had so many loans that they had given out, and now they're having some consequences to deal with. But they were, along with some other banks, they were involved with a lot of the foreclosures that are going on throughout the country. Do you think that there are still a lot of foreclosures and short sales, or have those dwindled down, do you think?
It's a big guess. Everybody, when we're in our sales meetings or any company, nobody really knows. You can talk to one bank and they'll say, we don't have a lot of foreclosures waiting to go out, but we have somebody that just works primarily with foreclosures, and at our sales meeting, he had 9 new ones, and he hadn't had any in the past couple months. So the bank released 9 new ones. So I don't know if they have a little lag, but every bank's different. Just like short sales, we don't know if people are still in trouble. We don't know for short sales the statistics. So.
Okay, and I've noticed that a lot of properties that are being sold are condos. And do you think that's because a lot of people, like you were saying, are upgrading to bigger homes? Maybe that's why a lot of them are being sold right now?
Well, it could be the opposite, that some are downgrading, that they don't need. Their kids have gone off to college, or they're getting, up in age, and they don't want to plow, and they don't want to take care of the garden, and so they can stay in Merrimack and get into a condo, or there's even over 55 condos. And then they can get into that, and the condo fees are higher, but the interest rates are so low that you can't. I mean, last year, condos, they said if you didn't put another condo on the market this time last year, it would be 11 months before they ran out. Now it's 6 months.
Wow.
So if we didn't put anything else on the market, it would be, it would be that we'd run out in 6 months. But I'm just speaking for Merrimack. I mean, some towns it's still a buyer's market in some towns.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you go to different towns, different states, all different areas have their own statistics, but that's why I always come to you, because you know what's going on here in Merrimack. And you were telling me earlier the interest rate has something to do with it as well. Isn't it pretty low right now?
I had a closing last week, and the 30-year fixed was 3.012.
Wow.
That's lower than cars. Some people that are getting loan on
my
cars.
goodness. So I'm better off going to buy a house right now than buying a new
That's
car.
Right.
So overall, what would you say the average selling price is for here in Merrimack?
Average selling price for just $236. Last year it was $219. If you throw condos in there, that quote was just residential. If you put condos and mobile homes and residential, the rate, I've got my little notes. It's 208, and last year it was 197.
Wow. So if you're a first time, it doesn't really seem like if you're a first time, anytime buyer, it's a great time to try to buy, but then it's also kind of hard too, because the rates are so great, but there's not as much out there, so it's kind of like a catch-22.
But they fight for it. That's what makes it a buyer's market.
Yeah.
Again. I mean, we have buyers just waiting, and buyers are on the internet, and they'll know sometimes before we do. I just saw this house come up on the market. Show it to me quick, and everybody's rushing to it. So
they're all doing their research.
It's a great sign, except the only problem in Merrimack or anywhere around here is that people don't want to put their house up right now because they think, oh, I don't want all the snow, and then it gets dark, and then the house will look ugly from the outside, and then everybody will come in with their snow boots and track through my house. But if you want to sell your house, I mean, in the spring, it'll be a big jump, but I mean, now.
But you never know what type of weather we're going to have. I mean, look at how it was last year.
That's right.
I mean, either we're going to get hit pretty hard or it's not going to be too bad. So it could go either way. But really, you have to think about, the moment, and you can't always wait till later on. And if it's that good of a market right now, then you want to jump on it.
They say that there's never been a better time in history that you could buy. That was last month. There was never a better time that the interest rates were so low and the prices were still low.
And for those first-time home buyers, whether it's a new couple or just whoever it is, what would be your strong tips for people that are first-time home buyers?
Get out there and look, because it's cheaper than renting. I mean, the rent's not cheap in New Hampshire.
Yes, absolutely. We don't talk a lot about that, but right now, how are the prices compared to rental rates?
They're lower. I mean,
to buy a home?
To buy a home or a townhome. Because right now, if you bought a little ranch and you're renting, if you rent a townhome, a 2-bedroom townhome that usually has a finished basement and the 3 stories, it's about $1,300 a month. And a house, you can't get a house in Merrimack for under $1,700. Sometimes you can catch a split or a ranch and get right in that 1,500, but it's rare. Normally, I mean, any type of colonial or anything, it's 2,100 and up.
Oh.
So you can get into a home, and when you do your taxes, all the interest, it's not as much interest now because the interest rates are so low, but
still
it's a good deal.
It's still
when you thought you couldn't do it before, or you still think you can't, it's just a phone call away to a mortgage professional. They can tell you over the phone if you can qualify.
So I think some people can be intimidated sometimes because, different people have different types of credit and you never know. So it seems like if you are looking to purchase a home, you really should, at least get it checked out because you might be eligible for more than you may think.
Or if you think that you're not eligible at all because of bad credit, there's so many programs out there that they have that it doesn't take as long. I mean, a foreclosure right now, you can have a foreclosure and then wait 3 years to that date and close on a house the next day. Those change, and short sales too. Short sales are 2 years is the last month. I can't say for this month.
So now we're going to we talked about advice for first-time home buyers. Now advice for sellers. It seems like it's great for sellers because they're going to be able to sell it pretty quickly. Just in general, let's say I'm sitting at my house right now and I'm watching this and I'm thinking, I'd like to sell my home. What would you suggest? What are those, those basic steps that people need to take?
Always the same steps. You have to declutter. You don't want to have all your pictures up, even though you love your family and you want everybody to love your family, because when we come in, we're going to look at those pictures, especially in Merrimack. Everybody knows everybody. And we're like, oh, do we know who that is? And we're looking at the pictures. Even the real estate agent, the realtor does it. So,
wait, does my child go to school with this one? And
the refrigerator pictures, those are the worst. You're always right there looking at the pictures.
Report card.
But if you declutter, take the pictures down and start packing, whether you put them in the garage or even if you take one room and you put your stuff in there, if you're starting packing, it's better that when you walk into that entryway that it's clean and there's no clutter and the living room is nice and the dining room and the kitchen and the stuff off the counters.
What about those pets? Because I know a lot of us have pets. Do you think you should probably put them away? Because I've heard of sometimes people, or do you think you should leave them out? Because what if the people are allergic to dogs or something like that? That's something I'm curious about.
Usually there's non-public remarks, and we're really good. Realtors are really good saying the cat's name's George, and he's very shy. He'll be under the bed, but the other one, wants to run out. So.
Okay.
Or the dog's so sweet, and the dog will sometimes they'll put them in the garage if the people are there, but normally, or they'll crate them just for that time of the showing. But if somebody works all day and their dogs are good, they just tell. I mean, I'm the biggest dog lover there is.
I am too, so I was curious, but then I know some people don't love them as much as we do, so I didn't know if that would sometimes be a deterrent if the person doesn't like animals and then you have animals. So that was just something I was kind of curious about, if that's something that's ever...
If I know that I've had clients that were afraid of dogs, and then I went in first and put them in the basement of the garage and worked a way around. But if people are allergic to animals and cats, especially cat allergies, they'll tell us beforehand, and so we know when we look, because they can walk right in a house and they don't even know that there was a cat, and they'll walk in and say, a cat was here.
Oh my.
You can't smell anything. I mean, so those allergies, they will not buy a house for allergies. Usually it seems like cat allergies, smoking. You can't smoke in a house anymore. I mean, people
that do,
that's hard, and people do not, whether they smoke or not, most people smoke outside now, so even smokers don't want to buy a house that's full of smoke.
So if you are someone that smokes, it's very important that if you are going to sell your house, you got to get that smell
even
out.
The paint, because the smoke will go on the walls, so even a fresh coat of paint helps a lot.
Wow. And something else, because we are starting to get into the fall season and the winter, and kind of can make things look a little different than it does in the springtime as far as outside. How important do you think it is for people to have their home looking a certain way on the outside? For instance, it's foliage season, so, should you maybe rake your leaves or, let them all, do you think there's a certain amount of manicuring that you should do if you're trying to sell your home?
There is. I mean, you want to rake your leaves. You don't want them all over.
I would hope so, but you never know. These are just basic things that,
Well, yeah. Because when the season changes and the house hasn't sold, we'll go take new pictures, like
That's
from summer
a great
to fall.
idea.
But those other pictures from the summer and the spring, they're so pretty. We'll put them in a little notebook and leave them for them to see what the house is going to look like, or a pool that's covered.
Oh, yeah.
We have pictures from the summer, the current pictures of what it looked like just in
because
August.
the pools are completely
because
different.
it doesn't look good covered with snow and ice all over it, and you don't
Hanging
know what
down
it
in
looks
the
like
cover.
underneath. Yeah.
That's such a
It's
great
sinking
idea.
down. Yeah.
Well, that's the best part about New England is that we do have the seasons opposed to other areas, but the home can look completely different in those different seasons. So it's great when you can have the different pictures. But if the homes are selling so quickly these days, it might be difficult to have all the looks because they haven't been on the market.
Right. And you
that
know what?
long.
That doesn't, like for now, for Halloween, people that put the little decorations out are good. Probably not 20 pumpkins in the front's good, but you want them to drive up and think, I would love to live here. So the curb appeal, no bikes laying over, because everybody's still riding their bikes now.
Mm-hmm.
All the kids are wearing shorts. It seems like all the boys wear shorts to school. The girls don't, but the boys, I think they wear shorts all year long here.
It's true. I was just driving here and a boy had on the big sweatshirt and shorts. And I thought, your legs must be cold. It must be the look, I swear. So we talked about the sellers. Now what about the buyers? Just basic tips for, let's say I'm wanting to buy a home in Merrimack right now. What would you tell me?
I tell you to call a realtor so they can, if it's really important and you need to buy now, that there's buyers that are sitting there waiting for us to call them.
And if you've been a little apprehensive, not sure whether to pull the trigger to start looking,
Pull it.
Now would be the time.
Because it's already a little too late from when it was better even in August for a buyer. So it's going up. So the buyers, and not back to sellers, but a seller can't go in and think, oh, this is a seller's market and price it outrageous. It's still got to be priced with the market, which is still lower than the norm.
Which I'm surprised because you said that they're selling so quickly, but it just shows you have to price them.
It's going up a little, just a little, and people will read on the news for the whole United States, and every market is just so different. So buyers, they know what to do if they're interested now. They're looking. They're actively looking.
Do you think it's the interest rate that's sparking this increase?
No, what sparks the interest is that everything's going up a little bit and they're getting scared and they're like, we better do it now because it could hit. You never know when it hits the bottom until it starts going up again.
So that must show that the economy overall is doing a lot better if people are able to buy the homes now, I would think. Do you find that the economy is affecting this overall?
I find that people that had foreclosures can buy again and get into a home.
Oh, that's great.
I found that, so that 3 years is over and they've rebuilt their credit and they've lived in a rental or rent to own. So, but I can't talk for the economy.
Oh, no, absolutely. I was just curious, because I feel that people, are starting to be able to find jobs and, at least from people that I know, and if you have a job now, it helps you
and you
get
see
into
signs
a home.
out even in Merrimack. I just I try to exclusively know everything I can about Merrimack, but you see that people are hiring now. Even in Nashua at the Christmas tree shop, there's ads all over the place. Come and work the Christmas season. So before, they were laying off people a couple years ago there.
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm happy to hear things are starting to get better. Just in general, what was I going to ask you? Oh, after the election, how do you think it's going to affect the interest rates?
People say they might go up. We don't know who's going to be the next president, so they both got different kind of home plans. So, but everybody's fears that maybe it is so low right now that afterwards, that's another reason. We just don't know. A lot can change. It could get better or it could tank again.
So basically, I'm not going to assume anything here, but if you are planning to buy a house, it might be a good idea to do it sooner than later because we don't know what's going to happen afterwards. So could be a little bit of a gamble
for a buyer. Either way, because
I'm not much of a gambler
prices,
personally, so that's why I'm thinking. Well, maybe now would be the time to do it to lock it in because what if it went up and the interest rate's so important. You don't want to just be giving your money away.
No.
We need that money for shopping.
That's right.
And doing fun things.
Going on vacation.
Oh, amen. We have our priorities straight. Well, thank you so much for being with me today, Tracy. It's always a pleasure. You're always my go-to real estate woman here in Merrimack.
Thank you very much.
And we look forward to seeing you next time on Let's Talk.